begging for attention sucks. Yeah. I mean, I have like a lot of different perspectives or like just ways I can comment on that. I mean, I kind of always told myself, I mean, this was like over the summer and like I almost had like too much time to think, cause that's like when I did a break from music and was just working. But I was like, I would like say stupid stuff to myself, but like it has some weight to it. I would say like, if we're still at, 500 monthly listeners, by next month or like in 2 months, like this has just got to stop. Because I hated like begging for attention. I hated like, releasing a song and like it would just sink or like, paying for it all. It's like a sunken cost. It's like very discouraging. And, promoting on TikTok is like demoralizing and and emasculating for some maybe. So I don't know, like, yeah, no, but then it just pushes me to make music that isn't boring. And I've kind of talked about that before with people or, like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's rude of me to say because I can't generalize everyone else as boring and me not being boring. But if I'm being honest with myself, that is how I'm going to try to like project myself, whether it's true or not. So,
and I feel like I relate so much to that begging for attention. I hate that. I find myself so far behind on social media posts. Like so often I'm just like, I love this part of what I do. I love this part. And there's so much more that I need to do that is so hard to find motivating. So for yourself, when you're having those thoughts, if I can't get past 500, like I just got to put the kibosh. Like when you're having those thoughts and having those feelings, you're not going to quit music because it's probably part of your soul. And I learned this in an interview I had a few weeks ago. The individual, she was just saying like, I can't, it's part of who I am. I can't just not make music, but it's also like, if you're at that demoralizing state, there's that constant like ebb and flow of life. So for you, how did you get past those feelings or like those thoughts where you, like you said, you had a little bit too much time to think? What made you get back out there and just say, all right, I can still do this. Even if this next song doesn't crack what I'm looking for, even if I do feel a little demoralized on social media, like what is it that got you back out there in the saddle on to ride again?
Well, first of all, I can't say that I like have conquered that. You know what I mean? I think that's, as an artist, you're just gonna like, be proud of yourself. And this is like so pretentious of me. If you're not proud of your work, that's okay. Be proud of yourself. Kind of separate that work and separate the work from the artist kind of thing. I don't know. In my specific example, it's so hard to grow a band without playing shows, and COVID it made it impossible to like get even past how many monthly listeners or whatever number means something to you. So in my specific example, once COVID wasn't, or was a little relaxed, and we started experimenting with shows where you're masked up and vaccinated, that definitely made me put me back in the saddle, gave me another chance. That's how that went. I don't know. I honestly sleep. Like you sleep on it. Like I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you said you like this right now. The actual, you don't want to post about, begging for people to listen to your podcast, but you love actually podcasting right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know. I'm not a podcaster. I don't have a pod. So like, does anything go wrong during this? Like the part you love?
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it does, but like, I don't know. Like when a question I ask doesn't land and I'm like, I don't know how to reword this, I'm just going to give up. Like, I'm just going to move on.
That's true. Yeah. And like, I mean, and you're like really lighthearted about it, which is good, but like, isn't that a nightmare too? And you're probably like, what are you saying? But like, we want to
I get it. You're right.
We like, and if you don't want to care about the numbers, you just want to play the show. Like, oh my God, what a nightmare when the show goes wrong too. So
Mm-hmm.
all very, very sad stuff, very like hard to like work through. But asleep, and honestly, you forget about it is like another thing I've noticed. I mean, everything is so clear in retrospect, as we say, and you'll just know what to do better for next time. So
Yeah. I am curious when you mentioned obviously separating the art from the artist. I get that in theory. Like I could read that in a book and be like, yeah, that makes complete sense. But then in practice, I'm like, but isn't the artist isn't what they make who they are? Like, and so how do you separate those? Because I hadn't really thought about this until you met. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's actually, I think that's a lot harder than it sounds.
right, easier said than done.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, what I was more meaning was, or what I meant was more like from like a personal standpoint of like when you are the artist making art, like being an artist is to suffer, or like, like I'm saying, like you're never going to be satisfied with your art, or so that's been the case for me, I guess, and like maybe many
Okay.
others. And so I just meant more like that's okay, and that's like the joy or the ride, and the whole point of being an artist. I just think you should be easy on yourself, and like be proud of yourself for what you do. You can forget about whatever song you made in a couple years. Do you want me to tackle?
Okay.
Because what you're referring to sounds more like the classic example, I mean, of an artist doing something controversial, and then everyone is like, but no, we must separate. Is
See,
that
but
what you're
that
kind of
one's
saying,
easy.
or?
No, that one's easy for me. Like to say I can, and it's easy for me on the other side, right? Like I can enjoy the music and forget about who made the music. That's easy for me.
Okay.
But I'm saying from the other side, from the musician side, that would be really difficult for them to separate themselves from it, right? Because on a consumer side, I've never been the person who is going to know all these facts about an actor or a musician or anything like that. I enjoy their art and I think it's great, and I genuinely don't care about their personal life most of the time, right?
Right.
This podcast has changed when it comes to a lot of bands. I love getting to know individuals on a more personal level because it is just really awesome. But like as like a consumer of another band, I'm not going to go in and look into all their little deep dark secrets, right? So on that side it's easy, but I'm saying like on the side of like the artist who creates the music, to say, all right, well, that song was a flop, I'm not a flop. Like to maintain that perspective would be challenging. To be like, to not say how my music is received is a representation of how I am received, right? Like that's what I'm saying would be difficult. Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense. I mean, you might just be unraveling, before both of our eyes, that I'm like a narcissist or something. Like, just
like,
kidding.
I love
But,
myself no matter what, bro.
yeah, but like, isn't that the goal? I mean,
It is. It really is. Yeah.
um, well, that makes me want to ask, like, I don't know, like, do you know yourself like fully? Because, I mean, this kind of goes along the lines with like, sleeping it off, and like, if you get hangry, like eat food. Like those are like really like basic. My point being like, do you know yourself? Because you'll have an idea, you'll make a song and you're like, this is garbage, and you'll distance yourself from it. But like in a year, you can listen to it and be like, and then you're proud of it. Does that make sense at all? Like I know
Yeah.
me personally, this is like the narcissist bit maybe coming out, but like, um, there's one specific time where I was like really bummed out, just about something in general. I don't think it was really related to music, but I forgot that I made these like this certain project, like these songs, like not like I think it was in high school, So I didn't like it at the time, but I popped it on then, and I was like, oh, look at what I did. And so that's like learning about yourself when everything is clear, like in retrospect,
Yeah.
I guess. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe maybe I would change that to like a temporary distance, but like just try to like be proud of yourself, I guess.
Yeah.